Yep.
Welcome to Tony at 12. I'm Tony LeBlanc, and today I'm in conversation with Ralph Burridge, and he's going to let us have his views on the current Alderney aviation situation. You go back a long way with Aurigny, don't you?
Yep. 1979. We put our helmet on
Yeah,
and loved it ever since.
okay. And during that time, there were a couple of Twin Otters lurking around, which were
Oh yes. Yeah.
capable of solo flying, yes?
Yep. Yep. They were available for single pilot operation, and they served us well at the time.
Yeah, yeah. But then they made a policy decision and got rid of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was a technical one, which is probably too long to go into now, but it was an anticipated replacement for the Trilender, did everything the Trilender did, only better, but they were fitted with turbines, and at that particular time, the start cycles on the turbines took down the maintenance cycle, so they economically they didn't work. So as a private company, and it was our money, not the taxpayers, they were disposed of.
But that's not the case with the modern one, and we'll come on to that in a few moments. What about the old Aurigny fleet then when you were there? It was quite large, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, overall, not necessarily all at the same time, but we did have nine Trilanders, three Islanders, a short 360, Saab 340, and of course the two Twin Otters. So we had a lot of capacity. And of course, at that time, I mean, I'm not saying you could do it now because the situation is different, but I mean, when they talk about the Jersey-Guernsey link, we used to operate 31 sectors on that route, and every 15 minutes in busy times. And of course, if you needed that number of aeroplanes, you needed them at the beginning and end of all the week,
Yeah.
where we would often do up to 24 rotations between Alderney and Southampton to get our friends in and out.
And it was always foggy, wasn't
It was always foggy. It
it?
was always foggy. Yeah.
So there we
That's how
are.
you learnt the original.
So
That's how you learnt to blind fly.
yeah, I can
Couldn't see where you're
imagine.
going.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's fast forward to 2026, Ralph, because um, what was originally promised, and I checked this out with Christine and she agreed with me, were two Twin
Yeah.
Otters in Aurigny livery, flown by Aurigny pilots with the promise of a Skybus backup. That was the
Yes.
deal.
Yeah. Yeah. But unfortunately, that seems to have disappeared over the hill, like Jack and Jill and the bucket.
Yeah.
Um, we only seem to have access to one. It's still in Skybus livery. Um, and we were also, as you had in your still statement there, the fact that if it went wrong, there was always one to back it up.
Mm.
I haven't seen that yet because it's gone wrong several times and backup is nowhere to be seen.
I suppose the backup is Buzz White in his boat.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But no, they were definitely going to have uh, another Twin Otter available in cases of technical problems, but
Mm.
it's never appeared. I'm afraid Nico is very good at, and his publicity firm, to put out good news, but unfortunately, a lot of it is fake news, which is absorbed by the public and the states members. And if you tell them rubbish often enough, they believe it. And unfortunately, uh, the way it's going, it's not really quite a truthful setup.
And am I right in thinking that the Twin Otter is also being used on the new Guernsey Jersey route?
Well, that's the theory.
Yeah.
At the moment, it's a little bit difficult because the midday rotation between Alderney, Guernsey, and Alderney was very, very valuable to all medical people to have their medical appointments. Now they have to hang around till about 5:30 in the evening, and even your lovely holiday makers who want to come down for a week cannot if they leave from, say, Manchester, Birmingham. They get to Guernsey, and then they're stuck there till 5:30, and they got the same sort of thing going back. So, it's not good for tourism to sell a week's holiday, and they're going to spend the first and the last day sitting in Guernsey Airport. Not good.
Not at all. Not at all. And of course, we did have this problem, didn't we? With a good friend of ours. We won't mention his name, but everyone knows who he is, who got stuck for 2 days, in terms of, having a serious illness and couldn't make it down to Guernsey to the hospital.
No, and he's not the only one to which this is applied. It's just that it happened to have a happy ending,
Yeah,
thank heavens. Um, but it highlighted the fact that 48 hours is 47 hours longer than the target time to get somebody into hospital in an emergency.
yeah,
Now,
yeah,
I know we're going back a little bit, and at the moment the setup isn't right, but recall that when we used to have a Trilender here and we had crews based here, our target time from the time the phone rang next to the pilot was 35 minutes to 40 minutes to have that person, that patient, into the PE in Guernsey.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, you cannot ever do that by having an aeroplane and a crew based off Ireland. Because as soon as you've got to get here, one, you have the problems with the weather, and the other is it takes time. And time is sometimes what the patient doesn't have.
And the other point being, of course, that it mucks up the schedule for people that were hoping to make it on a particular plane. If you only got one there to make it
Oh,
work.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And these timings, sometimes, Tony, well, I'll slip in one that the one thing that our friends at Aurigny are bad at is
Mm.
information to its passengers while they're hanging around.
Yeah.
I've got caught in Guernsey for several hours, and then you get annoyed because nobody tells you anything. You get on the plane, the pilot says, "Sorry for the delay. We were on to an air med," and suddenly the whole atmosphere changes because now they know the reason.
Yeah.
If they'd have known the reason in the first place, you wouldn't have had so many angry passengers.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You've got
It's
to,
all
you've got
about
to communicate,
communication.
and they don't do that.
It's all about communication, isn't it, from
Yeah,
that point of view? So, at the moment, we've got one Twin Otter. Where's the other one, Ralph?
yeah. I wish I knew. Nobody can really tell me where it is. Um, we've had one that uh, arrived in the UK, got itself sorted. It has been re-registered on the English register. Um, Gannets, lovely, and
Yeah.
it's even been named Gannet Rocks, but it's still plain white. No indication that it's anything to do with Aurigny, and as a potential flagship for the island, it has never been here. I do not know why. It seems to be a bad bit of promotion that unless there's something in the background that we don't know about, that then they don't seem to want to let that aeroplane come down here and show the Aurigny flag.
The thing is, Ralph, that when received the original promise, we were going to have Aurigny pilots. I hear that
Yeah,
they all defected from the Dorniers to the ATRs. Is that correct?
yeah, it is. I mean, at this particular moment, you're quite right. The plan was to use Skybus and then use Aurigny pilots so that eventually you would use um, the Skybus airplanes with the Aurigny logo on it and using Aurigny pilots, and the whole thing would be, if you like, a pseudo Aurigny operation. but we don't have any pilot. Aurigny does not have one single pilot available that can fly a Twin Otter.
Mm.
So it's down to Skybus completely. Now, moving on a little bit, I am a little bit concerned as to what happens when the clocks change and Skybus have their own summer schedule and their own crew problems to deal with. I'm not quite sure how we're going to deal with it when they sort of might lose interest, haven't got the pilots, and we haven't got any either.
For the benefit of our wider audience, Skybus is a company that operates primarily from Cornwall to the Scilly Isles,
Yes,
taking in several airports there. And obviously, up until now, they've had just about enough aircraft to make it work. But as you say,
that's right.
we're now in a situation where, come the summer, they may well say, "Well, we want our plane back," and that
Yeah, I
is
mean
really going to leave us up.
they had sufficient for their operation.
Yeah.
They whatever arrangements they made between Skybus and Aurigny, of course, is bound to be commercially sensitive,
Mm,
but nevertheless, they then agreed that they were going to get two Twin Otters from Canada, put them in Aurigny livery, and they, if you like, would be ours.
mm,
But we've only ever seen one, but never with the word Aurigny anywhere on it,
yeah.
and
Um,
that doesn't bode well.
well, I mean, it's essentially a wet lease situation, isn't it?
It is exactly a wet lease situation. Aurigny had nothing to do with its operation. As far as I'm aware, I can't guarantee it, but as far as I'm aware, while the aeroplanes are um, operated by Skybus, with Skybus crews on a wet lease operation, they're also, to a certain extent, utilising Skybus's operations manual,
Mm,
which are somewhat more restrictive than ours.
mm, mm.
Hence the 6 kilos of baggage and the valet service,
Yeah.
which we never had when we operated them.
No.
We just operated as a normal aeroplane.
Well,
And this relates to the fact that, like our own airport, if you're using airplanes less than 19 seats and less than a certain weight, you do not need security. You can delegate it. Silly's delegated Skybus as the security, and that is the way they deal with it.
yeah. Okay. So coming back to the mystery Gannet plane, do we think it's back in Canada?
No, well, according to my colleague, um, I'm just trying to put it up here. Just a minute, while I dig amongst my papers,
Don't press any
because
buttons, Ralph.
no, I'm not pressing any buttons. I'm not pressing any buttons, only my own. But it did say somewhere that under the flight logging system, it
Mm,
had been operating around about Land's End area um, on behalf of Skybus.
yeah.
So it is being used. It's here.
It's in service,
Um,
but not to us.
Yeah, I mean, it was originally on the Canadian register,
Yeah.
and then it had to get transferred to the UK register. Took a little time. Now it's on the UK register, as I say, as Gannets, and according to my sheet here, it's now named Gannet Rocks. An ideal bit of promotion for the island, but it's never seen the island at all, and the public's never been shown it, and I
So,
have no idea why not.
so looking at the whole thing in general, Ralph, is it a cock up or is it a conspiracy?
Well, I'm the way the the way that things are generally run, um, and generally the problems have never foreseen. They always arrive on the scene, and then there's a panic to try and put them right.
Yeah.
Wrong way around. It's like the air med situation. They at the moment are fighting, I think, successfully to have some form of manner in which they can load a patient onto a Twin Otter.
Mm.
We never had any trouble before, but apparently they do now. Now, that is a simple problem which should have been considered when they were considering the aeroplane,
Yeah.
not down the line when somebody nearly loses their life over a 48-hour delay, and then suddenly we better do something about this, chaps, otherwise the mud is going to stick, and we don't want that.
I
It's
believe
not
they,
good.
yeah, I believe they said yesterday that they had solved that particular problem and they had a protocol in place that would make it work. So I suppose we've got to
Oh
give
yes,
them
yeah.
credit for that. But they should have
No,
done it beforehand.
I wasn't complaining about not doing it, but not doing it at the time because
Yeah.
we always knew what was going to happen
Mm,
when the air meds left and all the crew left to Guernsey,
mm,
because that was the problem.
mm, mm.
The only way, and I know it's very hypothetical, but the only way you can ever get back to where we were is by having an aeroplane night stopped here
Yeah.
with the crews here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, only forward thinking, but if we haven't got any pilots and we have to um, hotel Skybus crew to
Mm,
fly them,
mm.
they might just as well be night stopped here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you have got an aeroplane here overnight, you have got crew here, and you could once more achieve the 35, 40-minute turnaround to get them down to the hospital.
Yeah.
It could work, but it's there's a general feeling that um, we won't do it unless we're pushed.
Absolutely. Yeah. 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 I mean, I was looking at the plane the other day, came back on it, and you've got a dog box in the middle of the plane,
Yeah.
which loses two seats. Michael O'Leary wouldn't allow that, you know.
No, I know he wouldn't. I know he wouldn't, and I'm sure he'd be very vocal about his opinions of it.
Yeah, yeah.
But again, this is where Skybus put it.
Mm,
That box.
mm,
Now, again, only talking theory. There may be a reason, but there's already been comments about a lesser number of seats down to 19, down to 17.
mm,
But I cannot see at the moment why, if you're operating one of those by Aurigny's methods, that you can't take the dog box out,
mm.
put it in the back hold like it always used to be on the Dornier,
Yep.
and put the two seats back.
Yeah.
It seems too simple. but but that's it. And then of course one of the problems that it's had is tankering of fuel because we haven't got any here.
Mm,
It's just like a pub with no beer. You've got an airport with no fuel, and the first thing the Skybus has to do is to sort of fill up in Guernsey with sufficient fuel to get it here and get it to Southampton, and then fill up at Southampton with enough to come back here and divert over to Guernsey because that's the next place it's going to find any fuel.
yeah.
It's a ridiculous situation, and one thing that's got to be sorted out. And I know everybody says we're doing it, we're doing it, we're doing it, but for about 4 years nothing's happened. We have to have fuel on this place because it's killing private aviation stone dead,
Mm,
and it's not helping our commercial operations at all. And if our friends at the Chamber of Commerce think that everything that's going on is boosting the hotel trade and boosting the economy of the island, I think they need to take their dark glasses off.
I had to book a flight for August, and the only way I could get to Southampton, because everything was sold out, was by way of going via Guernsey.
Yeah,
It's crazy. It's crazy. And
yeah.
that looks as if they're
It
going to
is absolutely crazy.
keep the single aircraft
And
going
what is
indefinitely. Now, you're
yeah,
involved with the
and
Alderney
what
Music Society, Ralph. You're finding it
yes,
difficult to get
yeah.
musicians
Well,
over. The Literary Society have had to
yes, we
cancel.
are.
Yeah. So, it's just absolutely strangling
Yeah,
the island.
we're yeah, our problem, Tony, specific on the music front, is that a lot of the musicians come from places like Manchester, Royal Northern College of Music, Chetham's, and their only option to get to Alderney is to come in via Guernsey.
Yeah.
Eh? So if they leave at 9 o'clock in the morning from Manchester, they cannot get to us until 6 o'clock in the evening, and they've got no rehearsal time for a concert that starts at half past
So
seven.
they've got to get in the day
Either
before.
scrap
Yeah. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
they've got to come down the day before with all the additional expense and fee. Us, the
Yeah.
other problem that we're personally having is those musicians with very expensive and valuable instruments just won't accept the valet service because they're out of their possession. So that we've lost a couple of groups who won't accept the system of valet service for carrying their instruments.
Yeah.
And cellos are another problem because the book says they can't be 3 foot. Most cellos, in their cases, are about 3 inches bigger than that, so they won't carry them.
Mm.
It's quite a thing. But other organisations are still the problem. If you look at the literary festival, which has just had to cancel itself, football, put your mind in the eyes of a football club or any of those organisations, the cricket club. Very difficult to organise a tour and visitors when you don't know when, if at all, you're going to be able to fly.
Yeah.
And even, I've just done it, had a man coming down from Manchester in a couple of months' time who we couldn't get from Guernsey to Alderney because they'd taken the middle one out. So we made alternative arrangements to do that sector privately.
Yeah.
And then when we've got it all sorted out, went back on the screen and they put the flight back in again.
Yeah.
So it was pandemonium for no reason because they took the flight out, didn't tell you, and then they put it back and didn't tell you.
I mean,
Good news, good news, good news.
it's also this question of strangling the economy of Alderney. Is the sheer cost of coming here? Family of four, 1,200 quid.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I know that particularly. We about a year ago we had a group of three, just at the wrong time, I know, but it was £1,011 just to bring three musicians over for one night.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. And you get that sort of figure of husband, wife, and the 2.2 children, and into that sort of money, say £1,000 for regular fares, and it just doesn't make sense, unfortunately. Um, when you nip down to Bournemouth, you nip down to Southampton, and you can disappear. My daughter works for Red Bull in Madrid,
Yeah.
and she gets backwards and forwards from Madrid to usually Luton, but sometimes Gatwick for 17 quid.
Yeah.
Why on earth would you want to spend a quarter of £1,000 to come here?
Yeah.
No
Absolutely.
chance. No
Yeah.
chance.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
doesn't make financial sense. You've got to love it, and we do love it, but you've only got to walk down Victoria Street and find that however much you love it, it's a bit dead.
And it's all
It's a bit
about
dead in Victoria.
it's all about the lack of connectivity, isn't it? And I mean,
Absolutely.
this is something that the states of Alderney, the states of Guernsey need to take into account. It's all very well sort of saying we're a drain on Guernsey, but give us a chance. Let us get people over at a reasonable cost. Let us promote the island.
Yeah. I mean, we are allegedly a drain on Guernsey, and to a certain extent we are. We know that. But the thing that irks me in the back of my mind is that everything that is done by Guernsey as far as conductivity, I'll get that right in a minute, connectivity, uh, and travel. and aviation fuel, everything like that. Everything they've done is to the detriment of Alderney and for the benefit of Guernsey.
Mm. What's it?
Guernsey always come out best when it
Yeah,
comes to these sort of things. You get somebody here who wants to come down in a light aircraft. You know how many light airplanes we used to have here
yeah,
and how many we have now, and it's a ridiculously small amount. But we haven't got any fuel. So they come down, they overfly Guernsey, overfly Alderney. They have to go down to Guernsey, where they have to pay a landing fee. They have to pay ASG for handling fees. They have to buy petrol. Then they have to come back up here and pay yet another landing fee to Guernsey for landing here. And you think to yourself, sooner or later they're going to say, "Why should I bother? I
mm.
might as well stay in Guernsey."
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
whole
Yeah,
the whole thing, every little thing is more or less keyed up. The benefit finishes up in Guernsey.
yeah,
You can go back to the gambling commission. It always happens. Alderney comes up with a good idea, like the original duty free with Basil.
yeah.
No good now. What on earth would you want to pay that sort of money for a duty-free bottle of whiskey that you can get two of them coming this way, or you might as well go home and buy it from the supermarket because it's cheaper over there.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's the view of a lot of people. One thing we haven't talked about is this runway reconstruction, and they
Ah,
don't seem to know anything about how long it's going to take to do it. What's your
no, and they
remedy?
don't even. We can't even sensibly get what they're going to do.
Yeah,
Yeah, you go back to the first approval for 24.5 million quid, going back a few years now. That was done on the back of a fag packet because there weren't any estimates on the bench. They just agreed the money.
yeah,
Now they've agreed the money and they still can't tell you what they're going to do.
no,
Now, if they're thinking of digging it all up and giving it a load carrying number and rebuilding the whole thing, then it could take months and months and months. It doesn't have to. If they're going to use the same criteria that of the airplanes now, certainly the Twin Otter doesn't need anything very strong. Any other airplanes we got doesn't need anything strong. So it needs a rebuild and a resurface rather than a dig up and a complete rebuild to give it the strength that it would need if you had bigger
yeah.
airplanes that you haven't got.
And we're never really likely to
It's
get them,
a
are
little
we?
bit negative.
No.
And
So
you know, when they resurfaced Guernsey, sorry if I trod on you,
no, that's okay.
um, when they resurfaced Guernsey, they did it at night, so that the airfield was still operational. Now, here you've got the ideal opportunity because the Otter is capable of using both grass runways, the long one by day and by night, and the short one by night,
Yeah,
by day rather, not night. Um, but once the Dornier came and it wasn't capable of using the grass runways, they lowered the maintenance standard and adopted the fact that grass runways were not going to be used for commercial
yeah,
purposes. Uh, um, uh, and there's a definite no when it came to resurrecting those two runways to a state that was available, that made them available for commercial use. Now, as far as the Twin Otter is concerned, they're quite good enough as they are, believe you me,
mm,
to operate in and out on those grass runways. But it's the it's the Guernsey people or Guernsey States people or the ports and harbours that appear to be putting a block on that by not wanting to do it. Save money and then whinging like hell when they've got to repatriate things back to where they were because it costs narrow and they're whinging about widening it.
Mm.
but they do tend to forget that they were the people that narrowed it to save money.
Yeah,
Funny setup, isn't it?
it certainly is. And
Funny old world,
funny
as
old
they
world,
say.
though. It's
Funny
like,
old world.
absolutely. Let's
But there's no reason why if you
sorry, I'm missing you. Let's hope it clears.
I've lost your sound, I'm
Yeah,
afraid, Tony.
I'm okay on the sound. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Over.
Yeah, I lost your sound. You were
Yeah,
talking to me, but I couldn't hear you.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, what I was going to say was essentially we've got the public service obligation to protect us, Ralph.
No, you haven't. Public service obligation is a sort of a thing that is put together um, to finish up with the absolute minimum that you can get away with.
Yeah,
And the trouble with PSOs is that they then, if there's any problems, get get put on the table as that is the requirements of the PSO, however small and miserably mean it is. It's never put down there to keep a good service. It's put down there and then becomes the accepted by the people who
yeah,
put it together.
yeah. So it's
It's
civil
I'm all
service to
right, Jack.
civil
I
service.
don't have to do anything.
Once again, just to remind our
That's right.
wider viewers, Aurigny is owned by the states of Guernsey. When governments own airlines, generally speaking, it never works.
No, no, no. I mean, I'm sure there are people that argue, but I've never known really in the UK and here a government that's ever been able to run anything properly,
Yeah,
let alone itself,
yeah.
because it can't do that either.
No, no, no. But
But
there we are.
it's pretty horrendous when you think about it.
Yeah,
Pretty horrendous.
yeah, yeah,
You know, to and with the publicity machine and Nico Babble, as I relevantly call him, um, they keep promoting their cause with the states members in Guernsey, and if they can convince the states members in Guernsey, there's no point in having to convince us because we just, unfortunately, most of our states members just follow like sheep and they believe everything they're told
yeah.
instead of going out there. I mean, there are quite a lot of people um, that are knowledgeable in aviation, and to the best of my knowledge, including myself, no states member has ever asked for an opinion from us who actually fly the things, know the things, and work on it from the inside.
Mm,
They're all on the outside working with what they're told is going to be right. You
mm,
know, we started right at the beginning with the C plus debate, as we'll call it,
yeah.
argument, debate, whatever it is. Um, and it's just got on and on and on and on. And you can bet your bottom dollar, Tony, that they've just passed 24.5 million, that after the election, I bet you a pound to a penny, there'll be a collection of new Guernsey politicians who will want to have another look at it.
Mm.
And that'll
Might
be another year
might
and
even
another million.
might even see the return of Mr. Trot, in which case we never see it. But there we are. I mean,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I
yeah,
shouldn't,
yeah.
I should not be laughing because it is a very serious matter. But there we are. Ralph, we've just about run out of time, I'm afraid. Really, really enjoyed talking to you as ever, and we'll get you back on in due course for a further update as to where we are on these things. So, thank you very, very much.
Oh, I don't think we'll ever be short. I don't think we'll ever be short of something to talk about when it comes to the airport. Pleasure to be with you, Tony. Thanks for
Thanks,
your help.
mate. All the best.